This is from SlideShare.net. Anyway, this is some of the Hutchison equipment in one of the bigger labs. High voltage system and elements plus other things. If you can understand schematics, can you? No, this is super high voltage. It had about 15 or 16 25,000 volts low inductance, 500 joules, 25,000 volts DC type capacitor series parallel with one big fella, the 5,000 joule capacitor driven by Siemens direct current, 400,000 volt, 0 to 400,000 volt X-ray transformer. And bang, bang, bang. And I made a guide system to shoot down any ball lightning effect, which it did do. Or bead lightning, let's call it that, okay? Okay, so this is a corona rings around a glass and plastic tube. And the sharp pointy things you see there is a spark gap of tungsten, which would explode. And I tie on there certain pieces of metal and go into bead lightning and shoot down that hole in the center of the corona rings, as well as the whole area had a strong electrostatic force or energy around it, driven by Van de Graaff generators, along with 3 magnetic coil units. Just another picture of the bead lightning end parts. And also, to boost static activity, you can see above there the two, it's not round balls, there's a cross-section of a toroid, about a foot in diameter, a toroid, 3 feet in diameter, and a Siemens X-ray transformer connected to it, and it has insulators and that suspended from the... This is some of the other parts of my setup, a spiral spark gap you see there on your left, with 2 stiff spring steel with balls on the end, going on an angle up like a Jacob's ladder. High voltage was applied and it's bang bang sparks. Iron ball on top, slightly magnetic, as well as sparks shooting across there. In the center part you see my famous nuclear unit emission ball, which is a round stainless steel ball, non-magnetic stainless steel. It had a window in it so the alpha beta flux gamma rays would shoot out. Had magnetics around it. Unit 250 volt pulse generator around that whole core. A magnetron powered by device 17 by 15, and on the very top is loaded to 10 to 100,000 volts direct current, depending on breakdown. And it says, hello, this is some of the magnetic setup, alpha beta flux setup, basically. Magnetron, magnetics, there's the magnetic cores that were once used on huge traveling wave tubes. Electromagnets controlled by variacs, variable frequency and voltage, by the way. Aluminum block as a reflector, copper block, the reflector, along with variable inductors, roller inductors, you know, like the old roller inductors. Come on, get with the program. Okay, so I got a double loop ship's antenna, big rings back and forth. I just shouldn't have done that to wreck the originality of them. Modified double loop brass ship antenna thing with multiple high voltage wires rated for 20,000 volts to run through it, crisscross, you know, and got one loop going one way, the other going 90 degrees out of phase. It's all kind of cool stuff, and it puts out a lot of weird energy stuff. It was pulsed as well through spark gap. Okay, this is some of the photos of lab setup using a Racal unit. As you may notice, I do have some of the, 3, 4 pieces of these still here. Here we have a picture drawing of two electrostatic generators. One really big 24-inch diameter ball, 9 feet tall, and 18-inch diameter, about 3.5 feet tall. As you can see, they're working together, pumping out the electrostatic energy in a direction, and we have up on top glass insulators. Xenon tube, which would pulse very dramatically, and G3 caps rated for 10,000 volts and rated at 8,000 kilocycles. 0 to 400 volts, either AC or DC, large choke coil. This is suspended from the ceiling, and it had put out a lot of interruptive field structures and that kind of weird thing. Okay, that's up on the slide. Okay, another setups. Some years later on, I started using ship parts. Sounds kind of crazy, doesn't it? But the antennas are quite interesting. This is 0 to 300 megacycle antenna. It was perfect for what I was doing. It had a casing around it, and it revolved, a revolving ear. You might see it in some of the Discovery Channel shows. Okay, this is called a mini ray gun. Some people call it that. It's just a countermeasures antenna with a rotating dish on an angle, flat dish. This thing put a lot of RF, and I had the whole drive mechanism for it. It became useful in targeting areas. So the target areas in the apartment were very dense and very close, as well as dangerous as well, as found out later on by the mayor of New Westminster and others. Okay, this antenna here is center part of a dish antenna used on a 3-inch 50 for targeting down aircraft. It revolved at a fast rate, it's on an angle. It came in handy as a kind of a high frequency pointing stick, basically what I'm trying to say. Quite an unusual piece. Oh, okay, this is something different here. Okay, but anyway, I'm open to anybody investigating, experimenting, and taking measurements of anything, as well as the power cells. And this is done in Japan because my customers were Japanese, and they wanted to make sure they weren't getting taken for a ride kind of thing. You know, this is from Takashi Ojiwa. Dear Mr. Hutchison, how are you? Thank you, very busy, blah, blah, blah. The crystals that you sent me are very interesting. That's the 18 kilohertz. I can see interesting phenomena. Input 18 kilohertz oscillator. I got the rest of it too. 8 volts. So I made also from Germany, USA, and Canada, these power units that people like. Not the simple crystal making stuff, but these were advanced systems I made. It cost a lot of money and a lot of time. A very nice letter from one of the defense people in Canada. Dr. Harold Wilson, per Chief DREP, Defense Region Established Pacific, with a kind letter. As they visited and filmed everything and wrote up reports. In 1986, as I said, I'm very open and friendly to anybody. I've been nasty to a few characters. One was from IBM. I kicked them out of my area. No. But these military folks are very friendly, as well as U.S. military folks, very friendly. And defense contractor like McDonnell Douglas, Jack Houck. So, another kind of letter from National Defense Headquarters from Dr. Lorne Q in 1986, suggesting I do certain things to improve the results of the weird science stuff I'm doing. I'm always leery of people that say the government came in, or the men in black came, or this and that, to their lab, or whatever they're trying to push on the people. Mostly they are fake people like John Searle. Fake as a $3.50 bill, for Pete's sake. Come on, don't worship these deadbeats. It's probably his investors got after the guy and just made up some weird story. This gentleman, Boyd Busherman, Lockheed Martin, and his wife, we had a lot of contact by emails over many years. He appeared with Nick Cook at Jane's Defense Weekly and the $1 Billion Secret, a program worth watching. Unfortunately didn't meet Boyd in person, have talked over the phone to his partner, Mr. Webb, but we shared a lot of stuff over a number of years. I think Boyd appears with David Sarita in a TV show for Discovery Channel. I think David as well has interviewed me for it, so yeah, Boyd is a real good guy. Brilliant scientist. So this is again the Canadian Defense Department pictures they took of the samples. That's, I think, Dr. Kuhn's feet. Who attended that? It was Dr. Lorna Kuhn, Dr. Loken, Dr. Harold Wilson, George Hathaway. So over time, things kind of got away from the big Tesla coil stuff down to more fine-tuned generators, magnetic flux generators, magnetic amplifiers, as well as converters, inverters. And this is basically a monitoring area that I would work in when people were filming the effects in the other area, other room. And this is behind me, another control area. This for generation more RF. And of course, the whole apartment was jammed with 18 tons of gear. So a lot of it was in other areas, like the kitchen or the bathroom. There's not. Anyway, you've seen TV shows where they filmed inside here. I guess I like Navy stuff as well. Okay.